All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Will Baptiste, aka the Haitian Sensation, coming to you live from Montreal, Quebec, where we eat pain for breakfast. I am a coach, I am an author, and I'm a speaker. I am your emotional health coach. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being loyal. Thank you for being on time. I vow to always, in my power, to be on time. It is 7 o'clock on the dot, and I'm here, and I appreciate you for being here. One thing that I want to let you know is that today is December 10th, 2023. This is the very first and the very last time it will ever be December 10th, 2023. So I hope you take full advantage of this day because you will never see it again in your life. You could have been anywhere in the world. You decided to be with me. And I appreciate it because the time that you're going to be spending with me, you will never get it back again. So I do not take your time for granted. Tonight, we got a great show for you. And as you can see, as you can tell, I am by myself. I am solo tonight, which I find it kind of quite interesting because we're going to be talking about a topic that is only from a male perspective and only a man that can speak on that topic, right? And that is the 12 most asked questions about men's emotions. Now, as you can see, I am pumped, I am ready because I think it's going to give me, first of all, it's going to give you a glimpse of what men goes through, right? What men go through if you're a woman. And if you're a man, you will have a better understanding of why you feel the way you feel and knowing that you're not alone. That's all I want to bring. I want to let you know that you are not alone. The feeling that you're feeling, the emotions that you go through, and all the BS that you go through in your life, you are not alone. So I don't ever want you to think for a minute, for a second, thinking that what you're going through, it is in isolation, it is unique, it is not. However, you may go through it differently from somebody else, whether it's because of social economics, whether it is cultural, whether it's your environment, so on and so forth. But trust and believe that everything that a man go through, right? One man go through, more than likely other men will go through it. They might not experience it the same way, but trust and believe that we all go through the same thing. So tonight I'm here. What I would love for you to do, first of all, is to go ahead and click on that YouTube channel and go ahead and subscribe because I am building this platform and I cannot do it without you. So if you wouldn't mind, please go uh, into YouTube and go to Will to Rise and then go ahead and click on that button and subscribe and put your notification on always so that way you'll be notified whenever I'm going live. It's same thing with on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're watching, if you're listening, please go ahead and give me a follow and let's connect. Right. And also on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, I appreciate you. So all of you that are here. And there's another platform you can actually follow me on, and that is OWL. It's a free app to download. You get a free $10 credit to give me a call. Okay. And then that $10. Hey Nadia, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Yes, my friend all the way from Toronto is here to support me, and I appreciate that. Great job on that event that you were at. I just saw some pictures and stuff like that. So great job that you're doing out there. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get all these ads and all these commercials out of the way because this is not what you hear. You're not here to listen to all the commercials and all the BS. You're here to listen to the top 12 most asked questions about men's emotions. The top 12 most asked questions about men's emotions. Now, when you hear men's emotions, what comes to your mind? Most of the time, we don't think men have emotions. That's what we've been told. And this is a BS and this is a matrix. And we've been sold a lie, and it is not true. And I'm going to prove it tonight. Very simple. Now, the first question is, how do men typically express their emotions? That is a great question. I'm glad that we started out with this question. Now, this questions, right? Um, Nadia said, "Do they have any?" These questions are. I know you're joking. These questions are no in order of importance. We're just, those are the most asked questions. How do men typically express their emotions? Thank you for asking that, because we do have emotions and we do express our emotions. However, the problem is that we are not expressing our emotions in a way that is constructive. We are not expressing our emotions in a way that is healthy. Why? And I'm going to explain to you why. Now, I live in Canada. If you are listening to me in the US and UK or wherever, some of the statistics that I'm going to refer to is only in Canada alone. All right. Now, how do I know men are expressing their emotions? Because we've been told that men don't have any emotions. That's BS. All human beings have emotions. Now, when it comes to how each person express their emotion based on how they view the world and how they were raised. However, we do have emotions. Now, the reason why I know men, because I've been a man for 43 years, I've been nothing other than being a man. So I can tell you from a male perspective how we express our emotions. Doesn't mean it's the right way, but it is a way nonetheless. And my goal is to change the way that we are expressing our emotions, because we do not want to suppress it. However, we do want to control it. However, we do want to find a way to express it in a way that is constructive. Now, having said that, we express our emotions through violence. That's the reason why the population prison 75% of are men. And the sad thing is, based on the CBC Light, say that new figure shows the number of, especially in minorities in Canadian prison, has increased by even 75% in the past decade. So we are expressing our emotions, but not in a way that is healthy, not in a way that is constructive. Another way that we know that men are expressing their emotions is through domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is not something that is only done towards women. Men have been victim also of domestic violence. Now we know there are not much statistic, because men are not calling the cops to say that they have been violated or so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, quite the contrary. I had a young man that I visited in a shelter here in Montreal. Actually got arrested because he actually called the cops, because his woman was bidding on him to the point where he had a black eye and he had bruises and marks on him. He ended up going to jail because they did not believe that this barely 5 foot feet woman could actually do this to a man that is over 6 feet tall. So that's a whole another conversation for another time. So men do have been have had violence or domestic violence done against men. Now, men are expressing their emotions through domestic violence, and men are expressing their emotions, unfortunately, through suicide. Yeah, that is a form of expression. Now, we may not like it. We um yes, men do go through domestic violence as well. Yes. So women, I like the way we express our emotions, and that's the reason why, as an emotional health coach for men, my goal, my ministry, yes, it is a ministry, my purpose and my calling is to help men, first of all, to get unstuck from emotional suppression, but also is to teach them how to properly, in a healthy way, to express their emotions. So now I know I'm spending a lot of time on the first question, and I promise I will go through all the 12 uh, uh all the 12 questions that were asked about men's emotions. And if we have to go over time, then hey, so be it, because I think it's important. So, first question: how do men typically express their emotions? Not in the right way, and that's the reason why I'm here to help men express their emotions in a way that is constructive, that is healthy, that is good for for society. All right. So, and if you have a cousin, if you have a brother, if you have a husband, you feel like that they need to express their emotions, but you just don't know how to help them, please do reach out to me. Second question: are men more likely to suppress their emotions? I mean, absolutely, because the world, society does not allow men to express their emotions. And however, we want men to express their emotions, but at the same time, we want them to be able to control it, right? We are suppressing our emotions because we have not been giving a safe space. We have not been allowed to express our emotions. And that's even among men, unfortunately, because society is not just made of women; it's also made of men. So society as a whole does not allow men, including other men, to express their emotions. Because I remember growing up, I used to be called sissy, I used to be called soft, I used to be called all kinds of names, right? So that's the reason why for nearly 30 some odd years, even more than that, you will never catch me cry because I felt like it was me showing my weakness. I felt like a man should not show their emotions because we want to be stoic. Okay. Now there is stoicism is not a bad thing. It depends on how it's being used, right? Just like everything else. There are times, there are places that a man have to be stoic. I'm not gonna lie. If you disagree with me, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. But I do believe stoicism, there's a place and time for it to be that we have to be, right? So I believe that is absolutely okay. But what is not okay is to constantly suppressing our emotions, constantly have to be the macho, the strong man, and not showing the emotions. And because emotions is women, it's a feminine energy, and so on and so forth. You know what? Women got this thing on lockdown, and I think men can learn a thing or two from women when it comes to the emotions. So, are men likely to suppress their emotions? Absolutely. It is time for men to done away with suppressing their emotions, but we want to also make sure that we can control it, and that is very important because as a masculine, with the masculine traits, men have to show control on their emotions because the world is looking at us and the world looking for someone that will that will show up and get things done. That's not the time for us to be emotional, but there will be a time for us to be emotional, and we have to be allowed to do that, and we have to be okay with showing emotions when it's needed, when it's valid, when it's necessary. Question number 3: what are some common societal expectations regarding men and emotions? And I think those questions are kind of really interconnected, if you will. What common societal expectation regarding men and emotions? And I just alluded to that. Society does not allow men to suppress to express their emotions, and I think it's wrong. And we are paying the price. Men are paying the price for suppressing their emotions, for for following the norm or following the metrics as of if a man expresses emotions, then somehow he's not a man. Somehow he's too feminine. Somehow he's weak. Somehow he's soft. I used to be, I used to be like that. And that's the reason why I vow to make sure that men do find a place in understanding how to express their emotions. Question number 4: how can men develop emotional intelligence? Woo, that's a great one. How can men develop emotional intelligence? I believe this is the way that I develop emotional intelligence. And then I know this word, this phrase, have been thrown around for the past few years. and we're talking about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. For me, the way that I develop emotional intelligence is knowing that, hey, I don't have it all together, and it is okay for not to be okay. That is emotional intelligence. For me, is to be self-aware. Being aware, meaning being present. Being aware is knowing that no one has control over me. Being aware is that where I'm at right now, am I aware of my surroundings? Right? Do I know who I am? Right? Being aware is in a being not just being in the present moment, but it's also knowing thyself. And I love this quote from Socrates. He says, "Knowing thyself is the beginning of wisdom." Knowing thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And I think in order for a man to develop emotional intelligence, that man first of all has to know who he is, so that way he can walk in his masculinity. He can take responsibility. He can take accountability. He can look at himself in the mirror and tell himself the raw truth. And also taking constructive criticism, and also be open to learn. And I think that's one of the ways that you can develop emotional intelligence. At least for me, you may be able to, you may say, you know what, I've learned a different way. That's fine. But that's one of the ways that works for me. Second way we can develop emotional intelligence is through acceptance, or we can call it self-acceptance. It's to accept the fact that we don't have it all together. It's to accept the fact that we cannot control the uncontrollable. It's to accept the fact that things around us are going to happen, and also to know that the thing that happens in the past that we cannot change, accepting the fact that, hey, like me, I was born in a country that I didn't have any control over that. I went to school to in place in I went to school which I didn't have any choice of where I went to school, right? So accepting now keep in mind, acceptance and tolerance are two very different things. Two very different things. Because tolerance is to say, knowing something is not good for you, knowing that you are lazy, knowing that the way that you are operating on a day-to-day basis, knowing that the way you treat people is not good, but you just don't want to change anything, don't want to change it. That's tolerance. And we do not tolerate bad behavior. We do not tolerate, as a man, I'm going to speak for myself, there are certain things a man should not tolerate. Should not tolerate disrespect, should not tolerate you know, ways of, should not tolerate somebody is treating someone else around you bad, right? There's other things that you should not tolerate. You should not tolerate your home to be run a certain way that you are not approve of. However, being, accepting things in life is a sign of maturity. Accepting that you made choices in the past that you cannot change, right? You grew up in an environment which you didn't have any choice. So that's accepting. So acceptance versus tolerance are two very different things. So the last but not least, so now I talk about uh you know acceptance with I talk about awareness, right? Which is one of the way that you can develop emotional intelligence. I talk about acceptance, and now I'm talking about action. Taking action, which means doing for yourself what you wish somebody else would do for you. Now, those are the three ways that I have developed my emotional intelligence. Now, there are other ways, and I made reference before in the past. I said intelligent man will not hit a woman, will not disrespect a woman, and will not cheat on a woman. Emotional intelligence will make sure that you uphold your integrity, that you will not steal from people, that you will not cheat, right? Because there's certain things when you have, now doesn't mean that it won't happen, but your goal should be striving for excellence. And only if you're striving for excellence that you're going to develop emotional intelligence. So again, for me, the way that I develop emotional intelligence is through awareness, acceptance, and action. Number five, we're going through this kind of quickly though. That's good. Number five, what are some unhealthy ways for men to cope with stress or negative emotions? Great question. Because we cannot get rid of stress, we cannot get rid of negative emotions. We can't, right? Just like we cannot get rid of our thoughts. Because if we try to get rid of our thoughts, I mean, we'll spend the rest of our lives doing just that because we have between 20 to 40 or 50,000 thoughts a day. So how can we sit there and try to control what, our thoughts? But we can cope. And the way that I cope with stress is to find the cause of the stress. Now, stress is not bad. Stress is not bad. It's when you stay stressed for way too long, then that's when you raise your cortisol, which is now you're in a constant fight, flight, fight, flight, freeze mode, and you don't want to be there. Now you need your stress because if somebody's running after you, if you're running away from a lion, if you're running away from someone that's trying to rob you, if you're running away from someone that's trying to kill you, you need your stress level to be at its peak, at its highest. But for some people, they are constantly on a stress level that is way too much that attack their body. You have to find a way to cope. There are different modalities that you can find to cope with stress. Um, and some other way to cope with them is through exercise. Exercise would definitely, I mean, of course, I will talk about exercise. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years. I'm a former bodybuilder. I'm a former firefighter, a first responder, and I've done, different type of races and stuff like that. So I know one of the ways to cope with that is number one is listen, exercise. And exercise doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to the gym. Exercise doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have weights, right? There are different ways, different modality that you can do to alleviate stress. So, and also, enough sleep, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's one of the ways that you can do. One of the things that you can do to cope with stress and negative emotions. Negative emotions, I treat them like a stranger that come to my house. I welcome them, but they're not allowed to stay. Now, the question again, you have to go back to the root cause. What causes those negative emotions? Because emotions within itself is not bad. Now, what you do with that negative emotions or positive emotions, it's that if that's a different thing. Because what we think is negative emotions, right? Maybe something that we need to be brought aware of. Maybe that's something that our body or our mind is trying to help us understand there's something that's going on here. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative or positive. It's just emotions. I don't personally classify emotions as negative or positive. It all depends what you do. Emotions are emotions. Now, what you do with it, whether it's negative or positive, then that's totally up to you. Now, how do I cope with that? Again, is to put myself in an environment that is going to allow me to have emotion that is going to be helpful. Now, if helpful emotions, right, is what we call positive, then let it be. Right. So, how do we cope with that? Is through what we watch, what we listen to. Now, this is just me. What we watch, what we listen to, the people that we have around us, and that's one of those. This is one of the ways that we can cope with emotions, whether good or bad. Right. Number six, do men experience emotions differently than women? Absolutely. First of all, we are not the same gender. We are not the same. We don't process things the same way. And let alone we don't grow up in the same environment. Even if we did, because we're all different people, even two men, would experience emotions differently based on their trauma, based on the wounds, based on the pain, based on the rejection, abandonment, injustice, so on and so forth. Even two men would experience emotion differently. Even two men, two brothers would experience emotion differently, let alone a man and a woman. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think personally, I think women have a better experience when it comes to the emotions than men. That's just my personal opinion. Does it make it right? Does it make it true? That I believe that's just my own personal opinion. So the question is, do men experience emotions, differently than women? Absolutely, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, men and women experience emotions differently, right? And And because, especially in the society that we live today, where there are a lot of pressure on men, to be strong, to show up for everybody else, right? A lot of pressure on men, and I think a lot of this pressure we put it on ourselves as well. If we're gonna if we're gonna be honest here, I think a lot of this pressure we put on ourselves because we don't think we're good enough. We have low self esteem, we don't value ourselves enough, we don't care for ourselves enough, we don't love ourselves enough. So I think that's one of the ways that we need to heal, guys. Men need to heal, because if we start out healing, then and only then we're going to experience emotions in a different way. Because if we don't heal, we're going to continue to bleed on people that did not cut us. We're going to continue to make the same doggone decision. We're still going to attract the same type of people that are no good for us because we are not healing. And if you don't think that you have something to heal from, you got another thing coming. I don't care who you are. And I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I don't care if you were born in the White House or in the crack house. We all have something. We all have trauma. And I'm going to do probably next week, I'm probably going to talk about the full type of trauma. Absolutely. Generational trauma. Yes. And there are four types of trauma, which I'm going to talk about probably next week. So I don't care who you are. We all have trauma. So we will experience emotions based on our trauma, based on our pain, based on what we experience. So we are experiencing emotions differently. Absolutely. Again, if you don't think if you don't think that you have trauma, if you don't think that your past will dictate how you experience your emotions, then you got another thing coming. So let's just not kid ourselves. Let's just be real, man. For a minute here, let's just be real. Again, men and women, and kudos to women. Sometimes I find them a little bit too emotional. That's just me. I mean, listen, I grew up with 13 women. Trust me. I have more feminine energy than I can than I have more feminine energy, growing up. I have enough energy to freaking light up a whole Montreal, or if not Canada. I had so much feminine energy. I had enough energy to light up a whole country here. So trust me, I know. And the great thing about women is that they know how to express the emotion. Do they always express it in the right way? Probably not. But anyway, this is not about women. It's about men. But because the question was or is, do men experience emotion differently than women? Absolutely. And I think women, do a pretty good job expressing their emotions. And maybe they should teach men a thing or two. But the problem is, this is the irony here. They know the importance of expressing their emotion, but yet they will not allow a man to express their emotions. That I don't understand for the life of me. But anyway, whew. All right. Question number 7. Question number 7. How can men navigate societal pressure to be stoic and unemotional? How can men navigate societal pressure to be stoic and unemotional? Because society tells us that if a man is too emotional, then he's not going to be logical. He's going to be rational. He's going to be rational. He's not going to be logical. That is true to a certain extent. Nadia says she doesn't think women express their emotions well. Well, listen, Nadia, who am I to argue with you because you're a woman? You've been a woman for, I don't know, 42, 43, 44, 45, 6 years. So who am I? I mean, yeah, I would love for you to elaborate on that. However, um, as a man that have been married more than once, I have a daughter, and I grew up among a lot of women, 13. Um, yes, I can say, but I didn't know that, there weren't 25 years. I don't know if they were not expressing their emotions well because I didn't know what that was. Now looking back, yes, yes, but I don't know to what extent the emotions was bad or was it good or whatnot. I mean, listen, I call them drama queen. That's what I call women that don't know how to express their emotion well. I call it drama queen. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't want to start getting hit mail and DMs and this and that and the third. I don't want that to happen. However, I do think women are doing a better job than men. Now, going back to the question, how can men navigate societal pressure to be stoic and emotional? I don't know. You just have to, again, it goes back to healing. I think if men heal, and I made a video not too long ago, about at least 3 or 4 weeks weeks ago, when I talk about 90% of men who are in a position or high status or a very high esteem position, 90% of those men are operating from trauma or operating from a place of unfulfillment or another place of contentment because they're hiding something. Because they are hiding something. Nadia say, I can definitely elaborate so much to say, yes, women are drama queens and so are men, Lord. I think we're more alike than we think. All right. All right. All right. Appreciate that. So I think us again, society is made up of men and women. I do believe in two genders. Okay, so that's my personal belief. I believe there's men, there's women, and there's nothing in between. It is black and white. That's it. That's all that. If you don't like it, to which is on. You identify how you want to identify. That's not my problem. What you do with your life is you. Me, I believe wholeheartedly there are two genders, there are male and female, and that's it, that's all. Okay, so as men, I think we need to do a better job in creating in a remove the pressure on men, on other men, to be stoic and to be unemotional. I think we need to do a much better job at that as men because we are not helping ourselves, we are not doing ourselves a service, and I think it is very detrimental to man to be stoic and to be unemotional. I don't think it's safe. I don't think it's healthy, and you can tell because of the prison population, the domestic violence, as well as the the suicide among men. So I don't think it's helping us, and I think it's time for us to be more in tune, not more emotional, but to be able to be emotional enough to have emotional intelligence to know when and where we should be emotional. Now, let me go back to the first 7 questions. Question number one, those are the 12 top most asked questions about men's emotions. Question number one is um, how do men typically express their emotions? Question number two, are men more likely to suppress their emotions? Question number three, what are some common societal expectations regarding men and emotions? Question number four, how can men develop emotional intelligence? Question number five, what are some healthy ways for men to cope with stress and negative emotions? Question number six, Do men experience emotions differently than women? Question number 7. How can men navigate societal pressure to be stoic and unemotional? Now, question number 8. Again, these are the top 12 most asked questions about men's emotion. Question number 8. What are the potential consequences of men not expressing their emotions? I just laid out for you. The consequences are we ended up being in prison. We ended up going to prison. We ended up probably, do harm to our partners or even sometimes to our children because we are not expressing our emotions in the way that is constructive. Number 3, we are committing suicide. And of course, there are drug abuse and substance abuse and so on and so forth, and addicted to sex and pornography. All of those things are the consequences of men not expressing their emotions. So as you can see, we are doing more harm to ourselves than good. So man, please express your emotions. Period. Point blank, period. And if you don't know how to do that, that's what I'm here for. And if I'm not the right person for you, please do find somebody that can help you. But whatever you got to do, please find a way, learn and get help on how to uh, express your emotions in a way that is constructive, so you don't have to have all those consequences for not expressing your emotions. Question number 9. Are there any cultural or original differences in how men express their emotions? Absolutely. As a man from the island, born in Haiti, grew up in Florida, in Naples, Florida, then Fort Myers and Cape Coral. Shout out to my people from Naples High School. It's when I went to school. And shout out to Edison Community College. What's up? What's up? That's when I went to college. And shout out to people from Fort Myers, from Fowler Street. If you know, you know Fowler Street. That's where I used to hang out. And shout out to people in Cape Coral. Didn't really like it because a bunch of older people that live there, but nonetheless, that's where I ended up living. But I didn't like it. So shout out to those people, and shout out to Miami. Shout out to Little Haiti. You know, shout out to all those people in from Miami. So yeah, I do believe that cultural and regional differences how we express our emotions, absolutely, because as a black man from the island, we couldn't cry. And I don't think it's just from the island, but it's even worse when you from the when you come from the island, like me, because we couldn't, just couldn't express our emotions. We didn't have any emotions, let alone to express our emotions. I didn't know about emotions until I was 40. I'm like, okay, I have emotions. That's what emotions are. Yeah, I didn't know, but I do now. And that's the reason why it's so important for me to teach other men and young men to validate their emotions, to let them know so that way they can stop being constipated emotionally. Emotional constipation is a real thing. So culture, original, depends on where you grew up. Absolutely. And I don't know about other race, how you impact them, you affect them, but I do know that it's affecting them on some way, shape, or form because they're still men and we still live in a world that expect a man to be just to get up, you know, pull yourself by your own bootstrap and do what you have to do. Still today. And I will hate to see another generation that's coming behind me to still have to suffer from the same thing that us as men and our forefather, dealt with. And I vow to break generational trauma and generational curse. The buck stopped with me. It's not true that my sons are going to be emotional constipated. Not under my watch. I will teach them how to express their emotions. I will teach them how to control their emotions, but they will express their emotions. Absolutely. Without a doubt. Right? Because if I don't, then I fail as a father and I fail my human race, which is the main, I fail everybody. Because if I know now, and I should do better. Question number 10. How can men effectively communicate their emotions in relationships? Woo. Now, this is a whole nother ball game. Now, again, as a man that's been married more than once and I've been, in relationships, I suffer greatly or more from in the hands of the women that I was with when it comes to me being and when it comes to me suppressing my emotions, because that's the one place you will hope that you could be yourself. That's the one place you hope that you can be authentic. That's one place that you hope that you can actually express how you're feeling. And for me, it was the last place that I could be vulnerable. It was the last place that I could express my emotions because I was being emasculated. I was being called the women in the relationship. I was being called all kinds of names. So what did I do? I shut down. And now, because of that, I vow to only be vulnerable and to express my emotions to a woman until she earns it. I would not be vulnerable to a woman that have not earned my vulnerability. Point blank, period. Now, some other people, I've got a group of men that I'm part of a group, black men, and we meet every week. And one of the men says, I will be vulnerable until someone gives me a reason to not to. Well, that's what happened to me. I was being vulnerable in my relationship, and they give me a reason to never be vulnerable again. So, therefore, for any other women, unfortunately, other women will have to pay the price. A woman will have to earn my vulnerability, period. And this is non negotiable. I don't care. You will have to learn to earn my vulnerability. So, how do we navigate through that? Find a woman, find a woman that have enough emotional intelligence to allow a man to be emotional, and that's not going to trample over his emotions, and that's not going to bash him. That's not going to have a pushback, but will have feedback. Because too often men get pushback from the women instead of feedback. So we have to find a way. A man have to be emotional, have to have enough emotional intelligence to be able to have a very heart to heart, sincere conversation with his woman to say, this is what I'm going through. And I just need you to listen. And I need you to allow me to do that. If that woman is not can't do that for you, and those are the things you will find out at the beginning or in the dating stage. If you're already in a marriage, if you're already in a committed relationship, then you guys can go to counseling together for couples counseling to make sure that this woman is allowing her man to express his emotions, because it is very important. Because when we do not communicate our emotions, then what happened, we interpret what the other person is saying or is feeling, because this person is not able to express the emotions in a way that is safe, that is conducive, and that is healthy. Question number 11. What are some common misconceptions about men and their emotions? What are some misconceptions about men and their emotions? Well, the misconception is We don't think that men have emotions. The misconception is that men don't cry. The misconception is men can't feel hurt. Men can feel hurt from a breakup. Men can feel hurt from words. Men can feel hurt from lack of words of affirmations. So those are the misconceptions when it comes to men. Men can have their heart broken too. As a matter of fact, men suffer in the long run when it comes to a breakup. Now, a woman will suffer from the instantly, but a man will be suffering for a very long time. So those are the misconceptions. Sometimes we think that when there's a breakup, oh, the man is just like, nonchalant about it and this, that, and the third. That's not true. It will catch up to us. So we might as well deal with it now. So those are the misconceptions about men and their emotions. Men suffer too. Men suffer. Trust me. Because, and again, how do we know we suffer? Because if you look at the suicidal rate among men, it's skyrocketing because men are suffering in silence. We are all suffering in silence. We don't show it. We don't talk about it. And when it's too hard for us, if we don't turn to drugs, alcohol, and sex addiction, and pornography, and gambling, and so on and so forth, when we've done all that, we can't find a fulfillment, then we turn inwards. We turn internally. That's when we commit suicide. Question number 12, last but not least, how can men create a support system to address the emotional needs? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm creating the support system. And that's the reason why I coach men. And it's very it's not hidden. It's out there. I am creating that space, and I'm creating this space two ways. I'm creating it through coaching, one-on-one coaching and group coaching. And also I'm doing that through my nonprofit, which is Rising Men Alliance. Rising Men Alliance is a nonprofit that, its mission is to create a space for men that can talk about their mental health, physical health, and financial health, and emotional health. So check us out on Facebook. Right now we're on Facebook, on Instagram, and the website is under construction, is being built right now, and you have more information about that. But in the meantime, you can always get in contact with us. You can always shoot us an email at risingmenalliance@gmail.com. And also I will put in the comment where you can contact us either by email. Also, you can donate. We have a GoFundMe. You can actually donate for the cause, because men's issues are everyone's issues. And again, when the boys heal, the man will appear. So I'm creating this, and I'm collaborating with other nonprofit organizations here in Montreal. And eventually it's going to be global. But right now, here in Montreal, I'm collaborating with other nonprofit to be able to help men that are in needs. Yes. Men that are in need emotionally, men that are in need financially, physically, mentally. And there are not enough resources for men. And if there, and the little there is, there's a long waiting list. And it is time for us to take this very seriously. It is time for our government, our officials, and everybody in this society. We cannot wait on people to do for us what we must do for ourselves. Now, again, when I talk about men, this is not, I'm talking about men and forget about women. No, I'm actually helping women, because when our men can show up, when our men can start the healing journey, they can actually show up as a better husband, a better partner, a better father, a better leader, a better friend, When men, so this is actually I am helping building stronger men to take the responsibility of a man to protect their women, to provide for the women, and to make sure that they love them and that women. And when a woman feel loved, feel protected, and feel provided for, man, we get that benefit. So it's really mutual benefit for all of us. When a man is healed, he shows up better. He provides, he protects, and he loves better. In return, now this woman is going to be happier, more fulfilled, and she's going to be a better helper for this man. So you see how that works. So this is not a man's problem or just women. It is our problem. It's our issues, and we must come together. And until we realize that this is affecting us all, that we're never going to be able to lock arms to say, you know what, let's do this together. I'm in this with you. I am in this with you. I don't know where you are in your journey, young man. I don't know where you are in your journey. But one thing I can tell you, you can always become a better version of yourself. Healing is not a destination. Healing is a marathon. It's a journey. And healing is it's like an onion. The more you peel it, the more you realize it's gonna hurt. Because when you peel an onion, what does it do to you? It makes you have tears. It's going to hurt. But I promise you, eventually you're going to be healed. I promise you, you're going to be a better person. I thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. I thank God that I'm not where I used to be. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. Guys, once again, this is very important. This is the reason why I'm dedicating my life, my whole being, my resources, everything that I have and everything that I own into this, because I believe in this. I believe we need each other. I believe that our man needs to heal from slavery, yes, from injustice, but also from abandonment, from betrayal. We got a lot to heal from. Grief, breakup, loss of a job, loss of a child. And if you're an immigrant, there's trauma there. Now you got to get accustomed to a new environment, to a new reality. There's a lot to hear from. And until we can be honest with ourselves, until we can look at ourselves in the mirror to say that I am the problem, that we're never going to be able to fix ourselves. As long as we're playing the victim, as long as we are saying we are putting the faults on somebody else. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. What I am saying is we have to do self-reflection. We have to look at ourselves and to say that the buck stopped with me. As for me and my house, we'll be healed. And the last thing you want is for your children to go to therapy, for your children to try to heal from having you as their father. What are you doing in your community? Are you mentoring young men? Are you giving back to your community? Are you being a model? What kind of impact are you making? What kind of influence are you having? What are you doing in your community on a daily basis? You don't have to do a whole lot. But if you can mentor one man, one young man, you're already changing the trajectory of his children, of his life, first of all, and of his children and of his children's children. Just one person, you can change the course of a whole generation. We are stronger together. We're gonna do a whole lot more than we think we can. Let's do that. Again, guys, if you need help, I'm here. You can always contact me. Please don't forget to go and um, and follow me on YouTube. I'm actually live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I want to say to everyone, thank you for being loyal. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like for me to talk about a certain topics, please do let me know. I love to read your comment. I love to get your feedback. Let me know. Um, and I'm here to learn. I don't know it all. I'm still learning each and every day, and I'm learning about myself. I'm learning sometimes that I can be more emotional. Sometimes I need to control my emotions. I have not arrived. I'm just further along than you are, so I'm reaching back now. Not only I'm looking up to the people that have been before me that helped me, but now I'm looking back to help others to be where I'm at today. And as I'm doing that, I'm also evolving. I'm learning about myself. See, that's the thing. That's the duality about helping others. You're actually learning while helping others. So, all that to say, I'm here. If you have not purchased my book, please do so. It's on Amazon. The Will to Rise: How to Persevere on the First of Adversity. If you want to get a hold of me for coaching, just DM me. Just DM me the word emotion. Just DM me the word emotions, and I will more than happy to reach out to you, whether it's group coaching or one-on-one coaching. And also, if you're looking for speakers, um, I- listen. If you like what I have to say, if you like what I stand for, if you like, because I am not a motivational speaker, I'm a transformative speaker. But because I believe motivation is like taking a shower. You got to do it every day. And some people need to be motivated. There's nothing wrong with that. But I am not a motivational speaker. I am a transformative speaker. I want to see people transform from the inside out. I want to see people transform from the emotional constipation to emotional liberation. I want to see men get unstuck. I'm in transformation. That's what I'm in. So if you know someone that could use my help, that could use my service, please do refer them to me. And when they do, please let them know to tell me who refer them, so I can send you a thank you note, because you didn't have to, and I'm so grateful. All right. So guys, this is it for me tonight. Once again, this has been a great night. I don't know how many of you are watching this, how many of you will be watching it, but whether it's one person or 100 people that are watching this, I want to pour my heart out, whether it's 100 or just one, because it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. It's about reaching out, it's about spreading the words, it's about spreading the gospel. Once again, I want to thank you guys for being with me, for showing up, for just for your support. You didn't have to. You didn't have to do any of that, but you did, and I appreciate that. So we're gonna go out with a little music, and then we're gonna do a countdown, and then we're going to uh, end this live for today. And I will be back, of the Lord willing, next week with another topic. So again, please follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and all the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram. I'm there. And for those of you who are in Montreal, I am doing an event. I'm next Saturday. And if you want to know more about that, please reach out to me. I'm doing that. It's a brunch. It's a fundraiser for the nonprofit. So if you want to know more about that, please reach out to me. All right. This is Will. I'm out.